Why'd they explain it like that? Only 3 to 4 years.
Their explanations are a little bit confusing.
Hey everyone, this is David from Tanukanji.
And my name is Levi.
And today we will be talking with Levi about his Japanese journey.
Yep.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
いいですか? Hi. Okay. Levi, I would describe as more of an intermediate learner of Japanese. How long have you been studying, actually?
Maybe about 3 to 4 years, I'd say.
Only 3 to 4 years.
Well, the last year or two, actually, maybe even more, have been not really like studying that much. I've studied intensely for maybe 2 to 3 years, but after that, kind of fell off. I got busy, and so.
Okay, wow. So 2 to 3 years of intense study.
Semi-intense.
Semi-intense.
A few hours a day.
And what did that entail? Like, what did you do?
Literally only wanikani.
Only wanikani.
Yeah. I mean, well, I did. Okay. So it started with just wanikani. I, of course, learned hiragana and katakana first. I did Genki 1 and 2 at the same time at the beginning. And then after I did those two, I just did wanikani. To learn grammar, I went through Boon Pro a little bit. That was helpful. Didn't really get me like much exposure to listening practice or speaking practice, which I would argue are the most important things in language learning. But it was really helpful for learning the grammar constructs themselves, and really helpful for me as a language learner, I guess.
So first you learned hiragana and katakana. For those unfamiliar, that's the basically like an alphabet version characters for Japanese. So each character represents a sound. Then you did wanikani, right? That is a very famous online kanji learning platform, the Chinese characters, right? So you started learning those. It also taught you vocabulary.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
A lot of vocab.
So you're learning the vocab, you're learning the kanji. And at the same time you're doing wanikani, you're also doing Boon Pro.
Yes.
Which is a site similar to wanikani, but for grammar structures.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so you did all that you did that religiously for like 2 or 3 years?
Okay, I would say the wanikani was religiously. The Boon Pro I only started near the end, maybe about 6 to 8 months at the end, and during that time I learned more about the grammar structures themselves. They helped with reading a lot. Maybe not so much, maybe actually listening, but I didn't really get much listening practice. I didn't have anyone to practice with, but yeah, I, religiously for 2 to 3 years, wanikani. And then I also did kaniwani, which is like kind of like a third party, open source. I think open source. I don't know. But basically a side project by this guy, and it allows you to go in the opposite direction as wanikani.
So wanikani, what is from Japanese to English?
Yep.
And kaniwani is from English to Japanese.
Yeah, it helps with your output skills, which is really helpful. Once I started doing that, I was pretty confident in my kanji ability and my vocab and everything. It shifted my perspective a little bit. It was really hard at first, and so it taught me the importance, like, I really actually need to study output skills.
Yeah.
And
so for the first few years of your Japanese journey, you were just getting input.
Yep.
Right? So minimal output.
Yep.
Okay. Was there ever, before I go there, wanikani, you enjoyed it or you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. There was some issues, like, as with everything, there are some pain points, but for the most part, it was an effective system for me.
Good. Yeah, I use wanikani myself as well, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. Of course, there's, like you said, pain points, gripes with the system. So partly why we headed up a different platform, right, to address those issues. But anyways, besides that, what level did you end at with wanikani?
35.
35. Okay, so over halfway, right?
Yeah.
There's 60 levels, I believe, still. And you had to start from the very beginning, right? Like you had to start from zero.
Yeah.
There was no way to test out or move forward.
Well, I didn't know any kanji when I started, so it was a perfect level for me. But yeah, if I knew now what I did going back, I couldn't start from beginning. I would have to do all of that again, as far as I know how.
Okay.
I don't think they changed that.
All right. And you also mentioned you used Genki.
Yep.
The Genki books. These are super popular Japanese beginner textbooks. Did you enjoy those?
Yeah. I felt like some of the information is, I mean, I'm no expert in Japanese, obviously. So, but it was great for learning Japanese. It taught the basics.
Like basic grammar.
Yeah.
And vocabulary. Okay. Would you recommend those textbooks to beginners?
Yeah, if you got nothing else to use, then go ahead. It helped me learn, so I would say it works, right? There is some things that I'm not particularly fond of about it.
Like what?
But take this with a grain of salt, because I'm no Japanese expert, obviously. But
no, of course.
There's some things, for example, one thing off the top of my mind, their explanations are a little bit confusing, needlessly, especially regarding te form, verb conjugations, things like that. There's stuff that like you look back and you're like, wow, this is actually like pretty easy, like pretty simple stuff, but I think they just overcomplicate it.
Why'd they explain it like that?
Yeah, they make rules for every situation, but like you just gotta like learn it. Like,
yeah, one thing I will say about the Genki books is they're very typical. How do you say, like classroom curriculum, right? They'll take concepts that are maybe related and they'll put them together without any regard to like the students possibly confusing them. So I'm thinking of one of the biggest examples is the verbs to give, to receive, and to be given something. So, ageru, morau, kureru, right? They always present those together for some reason. All the textbooks do that. And that's a big, right? That's a big gripe that I have with them. Like you should, if they're so related and they're always confused, maybe we should space them out a little bit, you know? But no, that's one gripe I have with the textbooks. And you probably, I don't know if you fell into that problem when you did with the how do you say, giving and receiving, and that whole thing.
Well, actually, if I'm being honest, I didn't read the Genki 2. Well, I read some of Genki 1, but then I watched, there's this YouTuber called Tokini Andy. Okay. And he made this explanation video, kind of series, course, over all of the Genki.
Following the Genki book.
Yeah, he did it. He split it up by chapter, and then each video was a new chapter. And I just watched those videos, took some notes. I studied those. I didn't even read the textbook, honestly, because he gave some, like, better explanations, and he gave practical examples of it, and it was great. Like, his videos really helped me out.
Yeah, I've heard good things about his channel. Really cool thing that he's doing, right? To make it easier and more digestible than just a textbook, which is fine. So, so you used a variety of resources, Wanikani Kaniwani, Boom Pro, Genki, Tokini Andy. Did you use other Japanese YouTubers?
Yeah.
Like
a lot.
Grammar channels and stuff like that? Or
yeah, like you look up a grammar point and then like you just see like these videos like explaining it. Just like I don't know what the YouTubers' names, but just like any channel.
There's a lot of those actually.
My routine was like so every day I would do at least 2 Wanikani sessions. I would do one in the morning, like after I wake up or before I like go to work or something like that. One session I probably have like 100 or 200 reviews maybe, and then later in the day, if I have time during the middle of the day, like on my lunch break or something, I'll do another session, maybe get another 100 reviews done, hopefully, and then at the end of the day, I would have my third session, which would be in probably another 100 or 2 reviews. That would be my base, and then every day I would also add on Kaniwani, which is the reverse direction. I would do one session of that, and then Boon Pro, which I use solely as the grammar. After doing the Tokini Andy videos, I use Boon Pro solely for grammar, and I did that usually at nighttime. Sometimes, if I felt like it, I would also like read Japanese books or manga or like Wikipedia pages in Japanese.
In Japanese. So native content.
Yep.
Ooh, okay. Wow. Very good. So I would say you drove yourself to an intermediate level. If you finished both Genkis, and it's okay if it's through, a YouTuber, that's fine. You went through both Genkis. You got over halfway through Wanikani. You did Boom Pro for a bit. You got a lot of input for over a course of 3 years, you said?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So 3 years, you got a lot of input. You're at this intermediate-ish level, maybe lower intermediate. When did you ever make a transition to outputting?
So during this whole period, I had absolutely no output. Mm-hmm. I didn't have anyone to practice with, first of all. So okay, I should explain that I didn't have really that much auditory input as well. I listened when I could to anime, but even then I used Japanese subtitles. So it would be a lot of Japanese reading practice. So I didn't really have any Japanese audio input or audio output. Then I moved to this island.
Well, hold on. Before you say that, why didn't you have that much Japanese audio input or output practice where you lived?
Hold on. Let me kind of take that back. I did have actually kind of a lot of Japanese input, audio input, because I did listen to this podcast called Nihongo Kontepe, and I listened to hundreds of. Anyways, I did that, and you ask why I didn't have much output. I just didn't have anyone to practice with.
Was that because of where you lived?
Probably. I didn't really live in a populated area. I probably could have found people online that would have practiced with me. I just wasn't really interested in that.
Okay. You are from a rural area, okay, in Hawaii. Okay. So you didn't really have anyone to practice with. Was there ever a transition when you went to output?
Yeah. I moved to another island. It's
a more populated island?
Yeah, it's a lot more urban.
Yeah.
And I met people. I met you. And then that's when we started practicing conversation. It was really my first foray into output, speaking in any capacity, which was I did have I would talk to myself in my head.
Yeah. Of course.
Like a crazy person, but I just would have made up conversations, but it's not really the same because you don't get instant feedback. You kind of know what you're trying to say to yourself anyway.
Yeah. And you can't be corrected, right?
Exactly.
If you're using a grammar point wrong or a word incorrectly, or you're pronouncing it wrong in your mind, no one's there to tell you, hey, you should say it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you would then probably continue to say it wrong, and then it would not fossilize, but it would get input into your brain like that, and you'd have a hard time recovering from that. But okay, so you started in your mind talking to yourself, then you met me. Yep. We were roommates. It was funny when the very first day we met, did you mention that you were studying Japanese? I think you did, because I remember telling you, hey, I teach Japanese, maybe I can help you out.
Oh, really?
I think that was the first time we met, and you had that long hair, and you looked completely different. I was like, oh boy, who's my roommate? Who's this guy? But and then, okay, so to make a long story short, you started outputting a lot with me, and I was, I'm still helping you. All right, this was a conversation about Levi's journey with Japanese, and you're still trying to, output more. You'd like to.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Why not?
You can do it.
Right now, I'm really slightly busy, but I mean, if I have time, yeah, why not?
Yeah. We are a little busy, especially with the site, right? So, looking at our site, looking at Tanukanji, would you say that would be a resource you wish you had?
Definitely.
When you started. Okay.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the reasons we started building it. When I was designing the back end, I made it so that it's kind of in the features that we implemented. There are features that I wish I had when I started, especially there's a lot of really great features that already exist for learning Japanese. And we don't mean to step on any toes. As we said, we use them ourselves.
Other platforms, right?
Yeah. But there are things that could be improved upon, I think. And
there's always room for improvement.
Yeah. And at least for me, I just feel like if I had these features when I started, especially some of the AI features that we have, it would have been really helpful for me, especially because I didn't have someone to like practice with like I do now. The chatbot thing could have like really helped me out, especially with like the output thing that we were talking about.
Yeah, so Tanukanji has primarily two parts, right? We have the SRS flashcards that will build a profile for you as a user, right? Showing what you know, what you're learning. And then we have our second component, which is the AI chatbot, which uses, right, things that items you've seen, items you're learning, items you've mastered in the chat so you can actively practice. That I've never seen yet with any kanji learning platform. You know, usually it's just an SRS. Usually it's just the flashcard part. Nothing yet with an AI chatbot that I've seen. So I would say, if you're interested, anyone watching, for your Japanese practice and Japanese study, if you want to learn new words or vocabulary, new characters, go ahead, try out Tanukanji. Try the chatbot. That is a paid feature.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, it does cost money, right, to use the AI, correct?
Yeah.
On our end. So
yeah,
in order
token
to
fees and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, to supplement that, unfortunately, like you said, we do have to charge a little fee. But we tried to make it as accessible as possible.
We really don't want it to be expensive to learn kanji. Especially for beginners, it's really daunting, and you don't know if you really want to stick with it, and money shouldn't be a hassle
in this economy. I know.
So yeah, we've kind of made it cheap, I think.
We try to make it as accessible as possible. That's right. Okay, well, thank you, Levi. Thank you for providing your story, your journey. It is a roadmap, right? I know so many people out there are looking for, what do I do? What resources are there? So you used a lot, which is great. And you've gotten far, I think. And
not as much as I should have.
Well, we're all human, right? So I think you can still go far. There's still a long journey, right? A long road ahead of you. So don't give up. I'm going to try to speak more with you in Japanese. Okay? All right. Thank you guys for watching. See you again. Bye.